And welcome back to the show, everybody. Excited about our next guest. All this brought to you by our friends at Casa de Campo in the Dominican Republic. I was there 3 weeks ago. Weather was awesome. The Pete Dye golf courses, Teeth of the Dog, and the rest are exceptional. But even if you don't play golf, you're planning a vacation, go to casadecampo.com. And I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. All right, our next guest, old friend, Jim Mattson and I worked together many, many years ago, and Jim is really a sports icon when it comes to broadcasting in the Peoria, Illinois area. EEK Channel 25, they've been the #1 station for decades and decades. And Jimmy joins us now, and he's excited about the Final Four. Jim, great to see you. First off, how you doing?
Doing great, Doug. It seems like a lifetime ago we were working together in Peoria, but yeah, really excited. You know how Peoria loves their basketball, and to have a Final Four team, it's pretty special.
Yeah, I try to tell people when I worked there what a great sports city Peoria was, and we were close to everything, whether it was Champaign-Urbana or Chicago or St. Louis or Normal, Illinois, where Illinois State is located. It's really a tremendous sports town. You know, Jim, I was looking back, when I was there, of course, Lou Henson, the legendary Hall of Fame coach, was there. And I always enjoyed interviewing Coach Henson because he always used my name every question. Well, Doug? Yeah. Well, Doug? Yeah. And I thought it was great. But the teams that I remember, Jimmy, back then, Nick Anderson, Kendall Gill, Stephen Bardo, Lowell Hamilton. I mean, these are legendary figures. That was a Final Four team in '89. And I know in '05, you covered the Bruce Weber team too. I thought that was the best team in the country. They ran into North Carolina in the championship game, but how good was that team?
Yeah, well, it's funny because the '89 team, I think on Super Sunday, they beat Georgia Tech and they were ranked #1. And all year you thought they were going to be in the Final Four. The 2005 team with Darren Luther, D. Brown, Darren Williams, and Luther Head.
Yes.
They were ranked #1 from November all the way till the national championship game. So those two teams, it was kind of like a 6-month quest that they were going to get to the Final Four. This Illinois team, a little bit different. There's been thought they could get there, but yeah, '89 and 2005, it was kind of the coronation. Of course, they're going to the Final Four. This year, it's a little bit different, but it's funny because, one of the kids on this year's team, Kylan Boswell, grew up in Champaign-Urbana, and he said, all I've heard about is Darren Luther. All I've heard about is Darren Luther, and now our banner is going up as a Final Four team. So it is very special for Illinois basketball.
Yeah, I want our listeners and viewers to realize the tradition at Illinois and Champaign-Urbana. I mean, it's special. And Assembly Hall there, the games are just raucous and so much fun. And that's, of course, where the high school state championships take place every year, Jim. But to think it had been 21 years since the last Final Four to now, that's a big gap.
Yeah, and it's funny because 2005, and people will say it was Bill Self's players and Bruce Weber coaching, but
right.
At the end of the Weber tenure and into the John Gross tenure, there weren't a lot of NCAA tournaments. They went years without hearing their name on Selection Sunday until Brad Underwood came back and got the program back, and it was really kind of a dark chapter. Lou Henson in the late '70s kind of got Illinois back on the map, and they had a pretty much of a terrific 25-year run. But it had been a very dark time until Brad Underwood arrived, and it took him a couple of years too. But now Illinois is in the tournament every year. This is their second, at least, Elite Eight in 3 years, and it feels like they're back. And you're right, the Illinois fan base, it's crazy. I mean, they had a remarkable crowd in Houston. They had a remarkable crowd in South Carolina. Illinois is one of the biggest schools in the country for alumni, so there's Illinois fans everywhere. And it's a pretty short drive to Indianapolis, so I think there will be a lot of orange this weekend at the Final Four.
It is an interesting mix, and as I watched the games this weekend, totally impressed by this Illinois team. I saw them play Alabama early in the year, and it's night and day how good they are now.
Right.
And they can go big, they can be physical, they got great shooters. And the Wagler kid, this 19-year-old freshman, that he fell through the cracks of the recruiting services, Jim. This kid is so good. I mean, you got to love this guy, right?
He's amazing. He didn't play high AAU ball, so he wasn't out on that circuit much. He was kind of considered the second best player on his high school team. They have a 7-footer that's going to Michigan State next year, who was a year behind him. And I think Illinois knew he was good, but it took Illinois a while. You mentioned the Alabama loss. They lost to Connecticut, who, of course, they play on Saturday in November, and he made one shot in that game. So it took Illinois a while to realize how good he is. But, he's projected as a lottery pick, and he does not have a dunk this year. He's 6'6".
Really?
He doesn't have a dunk, which is, who was the last guy not to have a dunk and be a lottery? I mean, was it Lou Alcindor when you weren't allowed to dunk? Or was it, I don't even know. That's a crazy I mean, he plays a very different style of basketball, but he's very, very smart and makes the right decision time after time.
Yeah, and in the interviews after the game, when Tracy Wolfson interviewed him the other night on CBS, he's just a very down-to-earth kid, articulate, thoughtful. Most kids under that circumstance would be so excited, and you wouldn't get a lot. But I just thought, what a mature kid. For 19 years old, where he came from, where he is now. Really a remarkable story when you think about it.
Remarkably polite. I mean,
yes,
he thanked me for interviewing him. You know what I mean?
I know.
I'm racing to get the most outstanding player an interview, and he's like, "Well, thank you for interviewing me." And I'm like, he's just been very well raised. I think because he wasn't, the ballyhooed McDonald's All-American, and I think he does appreciate everything that's going on. And Illinois has kind of strict rules about whose jersey gets retired, but he's a consensus All-American. He's taken the team to the Final Four. He's likely going to have his jersey retired by Illinois after 1 year. He's going to go down as an Illinois all-time great. And you're right. He's thanking people for interviews. He's polite. He's nice. He's a very interesting young man who's really had just an outstanding season.
The other kid I like is Petrovic. Of course, his dad was an NBA player, and they show his dad numerous times throughout every game, which is a great story, obviously. Now he comes off the bench.
Yeah.
And I just, he looks like a slender kid, but he's physical. Yeah. I mean, he loves to drive to the hole. And now he takes a lot of flops. He gets hit a lot, but man, that's part of his game. Special kid.
Yeah. You got your itches confused there. This is Stojakovic. They do have a Petrovic and they have an Ivisic. So there's a whole lot of H's on this team. But yeah, Stojakovic, whose dad Peja was a remarkable shooter.
Yes, exactly. Thank you.
Whose dad was a remarkable shooter, and he's not a very good shooter. He just kind of puts his head down and rams his way to the basket. But Illinois has so many shooters that to have a guy who can get from the three-point line to the layup really works well for Illinois. And he's an interesting guy because he averaged about 20 points a game last year at California. And even on media day, he told me, "I didn't come here to be the scorer. I came here to win." And he has embraced, he'd never been in the tournament. Coach Underwood says an hour before selection Sunday, he was already sitting down waiting because he couldn't, he was so excited to be in the tournament. And now he's in the Final Four coming off the bench. And he could have been the MVP down in Houston. He had a great regional.
Coach Underwood has done such an amazing job. And when I saw what he's getting paid compared to some of these other coaches, I think he may be underpaid. I mean, I know we got a big bonus for going to the Final Four, et cetera, but what a great job he's done. I sense the excitement in your voice, Jim. Obviously, you're an Illinois guy, Illinois grad. You've been covering the Fighting Illini for decades now. I mean, you got to be pumped up going to Indianapolis tomorrow.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I mean, again, Illinois is such a statewide school. It's one of the traditional big schools, and people all over the state are excited. I've got friends I went to school with who are flying in from all over the country to watch the games.
Sure.
Certainly Chicago embraces the Illini, and downstate embraces Illinois, and there'll be a lot of orange over there. And it's just been really exciting. They are a likable team. I mean, the foreign kids, Illinois is one of the biggest schools to have foreign kids. They have more foreign kids than probably any school in the country. So that kind of fits the Illinois model a little bit. But it's just a very likable team, a fun team, and they got a chance. I do think Michigan and Arizona are the two best teams, but I think Illinois got a real chance against U-Conn, and then you only have to beat one of those teams once. One thing Illinois has never done, Doug, is win it all. They've been to Final Fours. They've never won a national title. They had a heartbreaking loss in '89 at the buzzer to Michigan. They had the heartbreaking loss in 2005 when they made the big rally against North Carolina. Illinois is probably on that list with Houston of the best teams in the country that have never won it, the teams that have accomplished the most without winning it. So they're 2 wins away from winning it all.
I do believe, Jim, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, but U-Conn, after that emotional last-second hoopla, the shot that beat Duke, I think there's an emotional letdown. Now, people will say, nah, that's crazy. That happened last week. They've had a week to adjust. I don't know. I think it's tough to kind of rekindle that magic for one more game against a really good Illinois team. That's how I see it. I see Illinois beating U-Conn, and I really like Arizona, Jim. I've been saying ever since at the end of the regular season when Arizona beat Houston without their best player in Houston, I was sold. So I really think it's going to be an Illinois-Arizona final.
Yeah, I picked Arizona at the beginning. So I picked Arizona to win it all, too. I think Illinois can beat UConn. I think Illinois has changed a lot since they lost to them in November. I do agree with you. I think there's a little bit of a letdown. I think even like Illinois has to regroup. It was so exciting to win in Houston. You do get a week off from Saturday to Saturday, but I do think whichever team can kind of put last weekend behind them fastest is probably going to win. But I think they're both going to be great games. I do feel like Michigan and Arizona are the two best teams in the country, and maybe that's the pseudo-national title game. But the beauty of March is if U-Conn or Illinois win, they only have to beat them once. It's not best out of 7. So it's going to be a fun
Absolutely.
weekend.
You know, last week in Houston, the PGA Tour was in Houston. D.A. Points from Pekin, Illinois.
Yeah.
You know, he was there working for us on the golf course, and he was rushing to get to the arena on those 2 nights. You know, D.A., I mean, he's like you, and he would go and change and put his orange pants on and go to the game, so he bleeds orange, Jim.
Yeah, there's something about Illinois basketball. You know, the Illinois football team, Brett Bielema, they're in spring practice.
Yes.
He already told them, you know, no practice Monday if Illinois is playing. We're all going to gather and order some pizza and watch the basketball game. So, yeah, D.A. Points, I didn't see him in Houston. I feel bad. I saw him 2 years ago in Boston at the regional final, and you're right. I think he had the orange suspenders on, and he had the orange cap on, and he had his kids with him. And he's a good Illini guy to wear all that orange. So it'll be fun. Hopefully DA gets over. The Final Four is going to have a lot of alumni. I'm sure Darren Luther, all those guys will be back. So it's the Final Four is such a celebration of basketball, and when your team is in it, it's unbelievable.
It was so much fun. We did on the broadcast, by the way, we mentioned Lick Creek Golf Course in Pekin. Is Lick Creek still going strong, Jim?
Lick Creek is. They've done some renovations, and it's in great shape. And you broke par there? Did you break par there one round?
Yes. I was playing with you and your dad, and that was a special day. It all came together that one day, Jim.
Yeah, I think I shot 110. So I think if you frame that scorecard, I'd be embarrassed because. But yeah, you shot, I think, a 71 that day. And Lick Creek's one of our famous courses that's considered one of the toughest golf courses around. But that's Pekin. That's kind of, D.A. Points kind of grew up on Pekin Country Club and Lick Creek. But 2 great golf courses there for sure.
The other story I mentioned on air, and I'm sure D.A. was the only guy to respond. I made it, Jim, to the semifinals of the Peoria City Golf Championship.
Yes.
And I played Ron Godina,
yes,
who is a legendary, and as D.A. said in our broadcast, he's still a really good stick. I said, well, he beat me 9-8, which is embarrassing, but at least I made it. And Ron was a very, very good player at the time.
Great golfer, yeah, absolutely. I remember that as well. Yeah, we had some great rounds of golf out there. But yeah, Central Illinois loves its golf too. Right now, though, it's basketball weather. It's about 35 degrees here and raining sideways. So we're concentrating on basketball for a while. We'll be watching the Masters, and then we'll get our clubs out here.
All right, before we let you go, tell me about the young man from Bloomington, Illinois, who's headed to the Masters for the first time. You're going down to do an interview today. Yeah,
Brandon Holtz, he won, and I'm going to get this wrong. He won, is it the U.S. Mid-Am out in Arizona?
It is. Yes.
And he's like 39 years old. He's a former ISU Redbird basketball player who always loved golf. And his dad actually has a couple badges. They go to the Masters every year.
Wow.
So him and his dad have been going for like 20 years, and now he's going to play. His name is Brandon Holtz. I'm actually going to cover him this morning because he's playing in a simulator. You know, we're in Central Illinois. It's not golf weather yet. But he is so excited to play the Masters. He hits it a mile. He thinks he can play the course tee to green. He's not so sure about the greens. But he is sure that he's going to go down there and live kind of and you know, he plays with a bunch of buddies. They play at Crestwood Country Club over there in Bloomington. He plays with like 8 guys, and all of those guys are going to the Masters to watch their Saturday partner play at the Masters. It's a great story. And you know, normally the guys who win these amateurs are 21, 22, young college kids, up and comers, and he's who played college basketball and is now going to play at the Masters. So Brandon Holtz is a name to look out for at Augusta.
What an incredible story. Tell him now the greens will be the fastest he's ever played in his life, and will be the fastest he's ever played the rest of his life. And the tight lies around the greens. Listen, Augusta National is beautiful, Jim, as you know, and on TV, what you see is what you get. But those lies off the green are so tight. Even the great players in the world have trouble with some of those chips. You see a lot of chili dips, even with the top players. So tell him to, well, maybe you shouldn't tell him that. That just make him nervous.
That's right. He's more excited than nervous, but I think there's quite a bit of nervous too.
Oh, that's good stuff. What a great story. Thanks for sharing that. Also, lastly, Mark Steinberg, Tigers agent. And Tigers in the news, obviously. But Mark was a walk-on the 89 Final Four team at Illinois. Really good basketball player from Peoria. So you got a lot of connections between golf, Illinois, and the big circle.
Yeah, well, Adrian DeMont Chassard, one of the young players in the PGA Tour, is an Illinois guy. He's actually dating Brad Underwood's daughter. And,
My goodness.
yes. So he's a huge Illinois fan. So I know he heard a lot of ILL chants last week in Houston. So yeah, Illinois got lots of great golf. In fact, when Illinois basketball was struggling, we used to always say Illinois is a golf school. But basketball's back, though.
Oh, that's good news. Yeah, I saw Adrian at the Valspar Championship. He struggled in the final round. He had a couple of snowmen on the first hole and the 11th hole par fives. I hate to bring that up, but I was out there following Matt Fitzpatrick, and he was kind of slowing up the whole game there a little bit. But he's an Illinois guy.
Yes.
Let's don't go negative all of a sudden. Jimmy, we appreciate it, my friend. Seriously, it is so good to see you. And for our viewers and listeners, Jim and I go way, way back. And I think the world of you, my man, and I'm proud of you. And I hope I get to hear you interview some winners coming up this weekend at the Final Four.
That'd be great, Doug. I hope so too. But always great hearing from you, buddy.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.